What is going on, guys? So today we have a lot to cover, and it is all going to be about the most important thing that you want out of your Amazon FBA business, and that is profit, money. Of course, we're all doing this to live the life we want to live, or be our own boss, or have passive income, or quit our job. All the reasons, go ahead and comment down below your reason to why you would want to start this business or why you are starting this business. Myself personally, I did it because I didn't want to be told what to do. I wanted to be my own boss, and I didn't want to live the average lifestyle. I wanted to be different than everyone else. So that's why I did it. Let me know once again down below why you guys want to start a business like this. But this is how it ties into the video, because you cannot have that goal of being your own boss or being financially free without having profit. So that is why this topic in specific is very, very important to talk about. And that is going to be profit margins and what things to calculate when you guys are trying to figure out your profit margins. So stay till the end of the video and you guys will know exactly how to calculate your profit margins and know exactly how much profit you guys should be collecting with your business. All right, so there are really three big different categories that you need to take into factor when you're considering your profit margins. And a lot of people miss a lot of these things. That's why they miscalculate how much profit they're going to be making, and then they end up breaking even on their product or not making profit or making a small profit that's not really worth it. So that's why it's very important to know how to calculate these profit margins, because that is what's going to get you that end goal that you want. Okay, so the first category that we're going to be talking about is going to be the shipping/manufacturing category. This is going to be the first category that you're going to come across when you guys are starting your business. And this is going to be the different things that we want to factor in, such as the actual cost to create our product. So that's going to be the cost per unit for your product. That's also going to be your shipping cost per unit. That's also going to be the labeling cost per unit. And also, if you have any custom packaging, how much that's going to cost per unit. And you can also throw in a fifth one, not for everyone, but for some people, is if you guys have a logo designed or you have custom packaging designed by a designer and they cost money. So that would also be a fifth one that you want to include in this first category. Now, all of this stuff I teach to all of my private students. And if you guys don't know what that is, it is basically a course taught by myself, and it takes you through the whole Amazon selling process from start to finish. And I also give you my unlimited one-on-one mentorship. So you guys get to ask me as many questions as you want for as long as you want. And I always respond very quickly because I'm always on my phone working. And that also includes a ton of other different things, such as a private Facebook group for all of the students to interact with each other and get their initial reviews. Also comes with all my personal templates for negotiation and getting your inquiries from your supplier, cease and desist letter, and a few other different things like profit calculation templates and things like that. And it also includes one more thing, which is going to be my personal business connections to give you guys discounts on pretty much everything from A to Z when it comes to shipping, which is probably the biggest one because you'll save a lot of money on shipping, and other things like your logo creation or your giveaways, anything like that. It's going to end up saving you a lot of money. So if you guys are interested in that, then you need to email me here to get in. And it is a private course, so I only teach a few people at a time. That way I can really focus on them and get them to succeed as fast as possible. So you need to email me to get in right here, and I'll respond to you as soon as I can. And remember, please only email me if you are very, very serious about selling, and if you are willing to invest in yourself, your business, your future, whatever the case may be. So if this is something that you are interested in and you think that me and you would be a good fit together, then once again, email right here. Now let's get back into the video. Okay, so I'm going to go over a little bit of all five of these things, but remember, each one of these things really I can go on and on about for probably an hour on each. So that'd be 5 hours just for this first section. That's why it's really important to know exactly what you're doing. Make sure you're learning from the right person. I can't stress that enough. And these things sound simple, but when you really dig into it, there are a lot of strategies and factors that you need to consider and you need to know, or else you will mess up. And I don't want you to mess up. Okay, so the first thing I said was going to be the product costs. So this is going to be the actual cost to manufacture one product. So let's say we are going with watches and we're making these watches and we're getting them sourced in China. How much is it going to cost per watch to get manufactured? So let's say it costs $50 to manufacture this watch in China. So that's going to be the first thing that we need to consider when we're coming up with our profit margins. And now the second thing is going to be shipping costs. So that's how much is it going to be to ship this one watch from China to the United States. And it's very simple to do this. All you need to do is figure out how much the total order is for shipping. And let's say that it's going to cost about $500 to ship it from China to the United States. So the way you figure this out is you just take the total number, $500, and then you divide it by how many units you're getting sent in. So 500 divided by 1, so that means it's going to cost $5 per unit for your shipping. So that's going to be the second thing you need to consider. First one, product, second, shipping. Third is going to be labeling. So labeling is pretty easy to consider. You just got to ask your manufacturer or supplier how much they're going to charge you per unit to label your product. And that's with the FN SKU, and that's it. So if you guys want to do that, it's usually anywhere from 10 to 20 cents. It could even be zero, depending on your manufacturer and how good you are at negotiation. So that one's pretty simple. So that's the third thing you need to consider for your profit margins for the first section that we're talking about. Now, the fourth thing that we need to talk about is custom packaging. So this doesn't apply to everyone, only a few people, maybe some people who are more advanced or have a bigger budget to work with. So four, like I said, is going to be custom packaging, and that is going to be the actual cost to have your custom packaging printed or made. And that is going to be the same kind of concept as labeling. So let's say it's going to cost around 50 cents per unit to have the packaging made. That's also something you want to consider into your profit margins. And that one's pretty simple and it won't apply to everyone, like I said. And also the fifth one is something that also doesn't apply to everyone. And that is going to be the logo creation or your custom packaging creation, the design cost. So usually people will go online and find a website that does logo design or packaging design. And I have one of the websites I use down below in the description. So you go onto a website like that one and you pretty much hire them to make your logo or your custom packaging design. And that's something else you need to consider into your profit margin. So that is it for the first category. Now for category number 2, we're going to be talking about the charges or fees that Amazon will give you or you're going to acquire. So there are 3 main fees that you need to worry about, and that is going to be the referral fee, the FBA fee, and the storage fee. So all 3 of those you need to consider when you guys are coming up with your profit. This is probably the most important part that you need to consider because this really requires a lot of looking into the different fees and what categories you guys are going to be in. I'm going to leave a card up top to a video where I talk about this in depth about the 3 different main fees. But once again, there is a lot to consider when you guys are figuring out all 3 of these categories, so make sure you know what you're doing. Now I'm briefly going to go over the 3 main fees, not going to tell you how much it costs. That's what the card up top is for. I'm going to be talking about what they are actually meant for. So the first one we talked about was the FBA fee, and this is going to be the fee that they charge you to send out your inventory, do all the shipping for you, also to handle the customer service. So this one is very, very worth it because we do not want to do the shipping and customer service on our own. Because then if we have a big business, we'd have to hire multiple employees. So just trust me, this one's very worth it. The second one is going to be the referral fee, and this one's also very, very worth it. So this is the fee that they charge for you to actually be selling on Amazon, because Amazon is already a huge, huge, huge company that has hundreds of millions of customers that go through the website all the time and constantly buy stuff. So they're charging you a small fee, which is the referral fee, in order to use their platform, the Amazon website. And the third one is going to be the storage fee. So this is the fee that they charge to actually store your product in their warehouse. Once again, this one's also very nice because if we wanted to store our own products in a warehouse, we would have to rent out a space in a warehouse, probably get a few other employees. So these 3 fees are the main reason why Amazon blew up and is a extremely successful company, probably one of the most successful companies ever to exist, is because they have this business plan where people like me and you can go on here and sell without having our own employees, without doing any of this work, and at such a low cost when it comes to fees. So that is why they are so successful, and that is why these fees are nothing compared to how much value you are actually getting as a seller. So that is the end of category number 2. Now we are going on to the last category, number 3, and this is the one that I'd probably say is the least considered. So this one's probably one of the most important as well, and definitely I can tell you this is the one that never ever gets talked about and nobody ever thinks about or considers. So it's very important that you don't make that mistake either. So the third category is going to be your product launch costs, and this is going to include 4 subcategories. So the first one's going to be PPC advertising on Amazon. The second one is going to be product giveaways. The third one is going to be paid reviews, and the fourth one is going to be advertising cost, and that could be on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, influencers, or YouTube, anything like that. So 4 separate categories, and we're gonna go into all 4 of them in a little bit of detail. And also stay till the end of the video because we're gonna talk about how much profit I like to see per unit and how much you guys should have as your bare minimum, just so you know what a good range is. Okay, so the first category that we're gonna talk about is going to be PPC advertising on Amazon. So this is something that you need to consider. You need to come up with a budget, a daily budget, a monthly budget, a weekly budget, whatever budget you guys want, to really understand how much you guys are willing to spend and how much you guys should be spending on advertising costs when it comes to your PPC campaigns. Now, this is something that requires a lot of knowledge, and a lot of people don't know a lot of the stuff that they need to know. So consider all this. And as for the budget, that is not a budget that you want to spend. That is a budget that you need to spend. So you need to know different things to calculate on how much you need to be spending for PPC. And that requires you to know different strategies for looking into the market, looking into the numbers, and seeing how much your competitors are doing. So all that stuff is very important and requires you to know a lot about PPC, so do not mess that up, please. Now, the second one is going to be product giveaways. Now, this is something you need to consider when it comes to how many units are you going to give away, how much are you going to take a loss on those units. So for example, we can be giving away our products for 90% off, 50% off, 20% off. So depending on what percentage you're giving off, you need to factor that in to how many products you want to give away at what percentage you want to give it away at. And also for product giveaways, you can also hire a company like Viral Launch or anyone like that, and the link to them is down below as well if you guys want to check it out. And a company like that will do your giveaway for you, so you basically hire them to do it, and you need to consider that price as well if you do end up going with that option, but you can also do it yourself. Now, the third one is kind of similar to number 2, which would be the giveaways, and that is going to be paid reviews. So it's the same concept. You're going to be giving away a certain amount of products, and you're also possibly going to be giving them a small commission on top of it if they leave you a review. So this in specific is very complicated, and there are a lot of different rules that you need to follow, or else you could get in trouble. You can get your listing removed, or a lot of other different things can happen. So I think I teach about 11 or 12 different rules to my students that you need to follow, and the video is pretty long because there are a lot of different rules and things you need to follow if you're going to be doing paid reviews, and paid reviews are very important if you want to be successful selling. Now, the fourth and final one is going to be Facebook advertising, Instagram advertising, Snapchat, YouTube, influencers, any other advertising other than PPC on Amazon. So for example, let's say we want to come up with a budget just like we did for our PPC. Let's say we want to spend $5 per day on Facebook through an ad, and we want to budget that in for our profit calculations as well, because that's what we're going to be spending on advertising. So same goes to Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, whatever you guys want to use. You can also use influencers on anything like Instagram or YouTube, and they will post a picture of your product and you pay them a certain price and they'll hold it up for 24 hours. And so their audience sees it, and that gets you a lot of sales too if you know what you're doing. All this stuff I teach to my students as well, so it's a lot to take in, and there's a lot that goes into it, especially all these different advertising platforms like Facebook and all this stuff. It's very complicated, and it will not work if you don't know what you're doing, so know what you're doing again. Okay, so that is it for the 3 main topics I wanted to talk about. Now I want to talk about 2 other small things before you guys go. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is the idea that a lot of these different costs that I just talked about, especially in the 3rd section when it came to advertising, a lot of these costs will only apply to your first shipment because your first shipment is the one that you need to get ranked on. So you have to do giveaways, you have to do paid reviews, but that is only the first shipment. So remember, your first shipment, you're probably going to be losing more money than you anticipated, or you're not going to be making as much profit on your first shipment than anticipated. But the second shipment is the one that you really want to be excited for, because the second shipment, we no longer have to pay for paid reviews. We no longer have to pay for giveaways. We don't have to do PPC as much. All these different things we can cut down on or completely eliminate. So that means our second shipment is usually the shipment that you end up making all the profit on. And the second thing I wanted to talk about is what I consider a good profit margin and what you guys should consider a good profit margin as well. So I like to see a minimum of 30% profit per unit. So that means 30% of what it costs to sell goes towards me for profit. And that is factoring in everything I just talked about. And remember, your first shipment, it probably may be a little bit less than that. It could be even a break even, but the second shipment is something I'm more worried about. That 30% minimum on our second shipment. On the first one, don't worry about it. You could break even. If you break even, no problem at all. Worry about the second shipment, because that's when we start cutting back on everything else. So we need to make sure the foundation works without all those extra advertising costs on our first shipment. So the second shipment, 30% minimum. And I also like to see a $7 profit per unit along with the 30% margin, either or. So minimum $7 profit per unit and also a minimum of 30% profit per unit. So the $7 keeps us away from these small products that are not worth it to sell, because if we're selling something for $5 and you're going to be collecting less than $1 profit per unit, it's not really worth it, because you're going to have to sell a lot of that to make any decent profit. So I like to see $7. You can go as low as $4, $3. It's up to you totally, but personally I like $7 or more, and I recommend that all of you follow that 30% minimum margin for profit. So that is going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys learned something new, and if you guys did, then go down below and click on the like button if you enjoyed the video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to get notified every time I upload a new video. And last but not least, go down below, leave me a comment, let me know if you subscribed. Also, let me know if you have any questions, and I respond to every single comment. And that is it. So I will see you guys in the next video, or I will be seeing you even sooner if you guys want to email me to get into my private course. That's it. I'll catch you guys in the next video.